This is Ben. This is another edition of React Hacks, and I want to show you how I've created this checkout button here. This cart has a lot of work left to do, and I want to add some credit card payments, and I want to take you to an order page, but I'm not there yet. So all this lesson covers is when I click on this checkout button, I'm going to create an order, which you saw just popped up here in my DevTools. And if I go to my API and I look at the show route for order/49, we're going to see the order, the user who created it, in which case that's 13, and then we're going to see the bicycle and the saddlebag that was in my cart. And if we close the cart and open it, I've deleted the cart items because, well, you've checked out. You don't need your cart anymore. And when we take a look at the code, the thing I'm going to point out is the model of the order items, and then the order in which I've created the order items, and how I got that information. But let's start in the front end because it's a little easier to cover. And when you click on this button, it's going to invoke handle checkout. And handle checkout is going to make a post request to this endpoint called orders, send the JOT token along because this route is protected by authentication, and then it's going to send in the body the ID of the user. That's really all you're doing with the front end for now. We'll definitely do more in the future. On the back end, I want to start with the model for the order items and the order. And the order item is a carbon copy of the item. So if I showed you the model for the item, you're going to see name, image, description, price, and quantity is actually something that's a little bit different. And how I'm getting this information is I'm going to look for a user and then look for the cart items inside of that user's cart. And from those items, I'm going to add the values to these different columns here. For the order, all I have is an array of those order items, the charge and the total, which is something I've yet to finish, and then the ID of the user. So let's take a look at the route for creating an order, and then in this I'm actually creating the order items as well. It was pretty nifty. So to get back to the order, what I'm going to need is the order items, which I need to create, the ID of the user, and then obviously the ID of the order, which is going to be generated for me automatically when I create it. So the first step is when I access this route/orders and I send a post request, I'm going to look for the users, and that way I can get to the items inside of its cart. Then I'm going to create a new order, but before I return that order, I need to create the order items, and I'm going to take the ID from that order and then pass it into this object here where I'm creating an order item. But let's back up just one step, because before I get to this order item, what I'm doing is I'm accessing the user that I've looked up, going inside of its cart, and then mapping over every cart item. And with every cart item, I'm going to do three things. The first is I'm going to create an order item, and I'm going to pass it the name, the image, the description, and the price, which we saw in the schema a little bit earlier. So now I have a new order item. I'm going to take the order which I literally just created and then add to its column order items ID the ID of the order item we just created. And that's how we're going to end up filling that array with order items. Lastly, I need to delete the items from the user's cart because, well, you have an order. You don't need a cart anymore. So I'm going to access my cart item table, delete the cart item according to its ID. So there's a lot more work to get done, but this was a pretty big task just to get started, so I'm going to leave it here for now. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you tomorrow.